Welcome to a Dev10 recorded information session. My name is Kayla Connolly, and I'm a talent manager here at Dev10. I've been supporting this organization since 2016, and part of my job here is to educate and guide you through this job application process. So if you decide to continue forward, I will be your main point of contact. Now, today is your opportunity to learn more about this job opportunity and determine if you want to move forward in this process and move on to step number 2. We do have about 30 minutes of content that I will be simply sharing information on, which means that I do encourage you to pay attention, take some notes along the way if that is helpful. At the very end, if you do decide to continue forward, there will be a short quiz at the end. And so, again, it is important that you're taking note of or paying attention of what is being shared or covered with you. Now, let's start with our job requirements. First of all, you must have the ability to work in the United States without visa sponsorship, and that is now or at any point in the future. Secondly, you must have a completed bachelor's degree. If you're still working on achieving that bachelor's degree, that's okay. You can still listen to this recorded information session and move on to the next step in the process. It will at least get you in process with us, and then you and I can determine a good time to move forward based on your ability to start a full-time job. But that degree will need to be completed prior to starting your job with us. Third, you must have recent programming experience. We're ideally looking for about 6+ months of programming experience. This can be from academics, personal projects, or professional experience. Just to list out some programming languages that we would find acceptable, it could be Java, Python, C, C Sharp, C++, JavaScript, R, SQL, MATLAB, Mathematica. Those would all be acceptable programming languages that, as long as it was relevant experience, would qualify you for this job. Lastly, you must have a recent STEM degree or professional experience. Now, for professional experience, we're ideally targeting 12+ months of professional experience in one of our client industries that we partner with. Now, those client industries are going to include finance, healthcare, banking, insurance, hospitality, or aviation, as well as technology. So if your professional experience falls into one of those industries and it's for more than 12 or more months, that would also qualify you for this job. Dev10 is absolutely a full-time job and career path. This is not a boot camp. However, it's pretty unique that your job does start with some dedicated training time. So we are giving you 3 to 4 months of training. And again, this is your job, is to learn. This training is conducted in a remote setting. And then following that, you would get promoted into your consultant role. From there, you are working on site with one of our clients, and that is when you're actually applying those skills and knowledge that you have obtained. Here at Dev10, we have 2 different career paths that you can choose from. If you don't know what job you're most interested in here today, that's okay. That's part of my job, is to really help determine and ask those questions and figure out what role could be a better fit. But maybe you already do know the answer, which is also wonderful. So starting with our software developer role, this is true application development. We focus on full stack. So on the front end, we cover React, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, a MySQL database, and then we are focusing heavily on backend Java. So Java is the primary programming language that you are learning in this training. The other job opportunity is to be a data engineer. And so, still a very technical position, just really harnessing the power and love for data. So, building data pipelines for efficient ETL, developing and maintaining databases. There is Python programming, that is the primary programming language. You'll also be focusing on SQL as well as Kafka. Now, while that was a higher level overview, we understand coming into this role, you have some programming knowledge or background. And so we wanted to do a deeper dive on the actual training and the tools and technologies we focus on. So if you need to at this point in time, pause this video, take a screenshot of this page. The next slide will be the data engineering training as well, but this is going to give you a good understanding of some of the things that you are learning and doing really a deep dive on. We understand with a computer science major, even some of what you learn in college is theory based, and that is not our training. Our training is only focused on the hands-on practical skills and knowledge to be a software developer or data engineer. And so Dev10 is really providing that hands-on applied knowledge in industry in demand skills. So we're bridging that gap between what you've learned maybe in an academic setting or a professional setting based on your background and what the employers actually need you to know coming in. Now, as mentioned, here's our data engineering training. So ironically, we have found that very few schools are offering the deep dive hands-on training needed to support the data engineering needs of enterprise organizations. So maybe you have some Python programming knowledge, but likely not some of the other tools that are listed on the screen here to produce a data pipeline. For a computer science grad that's interested in getting into data and using data engineering as a springboard into Gen AI and machine learning, our training pairs really well with your existing knowledge of development and rounds out your knowledge in the other tools so you can more effectively go into some of those AI machine learning type roles. So again, if you need to pause on the screen so you can take a screenshot of this training because I am going to be moving on to the next slide here. Now, AI fluent. Now, AI fluency for a junior developer or data engineer really means having the foundational knowledge and practical skills to understand, use, and frankly, build with AI responsibly. It's not about being a research scientist. We're not hiring you to be a data scientist. That's not this role. But it's about knowing how AI fits into modern software and data workflows. So, for example, you could work with AI tools and APIs to accelerate coding, testing, or data tasks. You could understand data requirements for AI, so how to collect, clean, and prepare data for models. Maybe integrate AI into applications and pipelines, so using frameworks, cloud services, and deployment tools. And then overall, just being able to communicate about AI effectively with teammates and knowing the terminology is going to be important. So ultimately, we do utilize some AI productivity tools, and we're trying to teach you how to use them effectively without diminishing your skill development. That is our main goal. We still want you to not handicap yourself in your knowledge. However, how to use these tools is very much a part of the world we are in here today. And so that absolutely is incorporated in our training. Excuse me. Our job is nationwide. So you likely have seen this already, but what does that truly mean? This means that you are comfortable with relocating. Our clients are across the continental United States. And so that means you could be placed with a client outside of your current location. Because of that and that relocation needed, we are providing a 30-day notice for you to make that move, as well as a $2,500 relocation bonus. Now let's dive into the structure of this job, and this will apply for both our software developer and data engineering role. So this again is your full-time job. It's your first 3 to 4 months conducted remotely. We like to utilize Zoom and Microsoft Teams as our communication platforms. This training is led by senior engineers, and these are your managers that are actually checking in with you, guiding you through this material, sitting down with you weekly to have a code review, and ultimately ensuring you're gaining the technical skills needed to get promoted. There also is going to be the sense of community in our training. What does this mean? So we do hire in a cohort style model, which means that you are going to be surrounded by colleagues and peers who are also becoming developers and engineers. You're all getting hired into the same role. Now, you won't all get placed with the same client, most likely, and you all will be supporting different projects, but you're going through this rigorous training together. And so you get to lean on each other, you get to ask questions, and you really get to build this sense of network and community starting day one. Here's a training schedule example. The first thing I always like to call out are what are the core hours you're going to be working. Core hours are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Central Time. If you are living outside of Central Time, please make sure you are making that time adjustment to your own time zone. Roughly 40 hours of core hours every week. And then there is about an additional 10 hours expected outside of that core hour time frame. So this is your nights and your weekends, and this is really just to keep up with the pace of training. Now, 10 hours is an estimate, but I always like to throw out kind of the higher end estimate. Based on the material you're covering that week, maybe it's only 5 hours or maybe it's 8 hours, but maybe one week it is that 10-hour time frame or a little bit more. So it is to be expected that you're dedicating an hour or two of time every night, maybe 5 hours over the weekend to keep up with the pace of training. And again, this is just during training. Because of that, we require 100% mandatory attendance during this time frame. So when you go to select a good start date for yourself, and you and I will be partnering on this together, we'll want to make sure you don't have any time off needs for your first 3 to 4 months of employment because we won't allow it. And so we'll want to make sure we're identifying a start date that works really well with your schedule. Now, during this training, we are practicing an agile methodology that is most commonly used with our clientele. So every day you start with a daily stand-up. That is at 9 a.m. Central Time. You then will move into a warm-up exercise. Maybe this is a pair programming exercise. Then you'll dive into a live Q&A session. As noted earlier, this is all hands-on practical knowledge. So these are assignments and projects and lessons you're working on. These aren't tests or exams. So that means our senior engineer is not coming to lecture at you and you're taking notes and listening in that style of model. These are your questions. These are your challenges. So it's going to be really important that you're comfortable speaking up and asking that question, asking for help when needed, and really taking ownership that this is your job. We always break an hour for lunch. It's super important to step away, take that brain break, and then afternoons are spent for more of the hands-on working time. Now, while we really promote this collaboration and community aspect, all of the actual assignments and projects assigned to you will be completed individually. And that is an important call out. every week you need to sit down with your senior engineer for a code review that you do need to meet expectations on. The only really good way for us to assess your understanding of what's being covered and your ability to apply that knowledge into a practical setting, into that project, is if you're doing the work yourself. And so that is why we take that approach. Not only does your code need to meet expectations, but you also have to be able to speak to your code, which is kind of a secondary factor of that code review. What did you do? How did you do it? And why did you do it? You can code in so many different ways. So being able to communicate effectively around that is also an important characteristic we want you to gain from this training. Now we've talked a lot about training, so let's now move into the client matching process. So something I like to mention right away is that as an organization, this is what we are good at. We take a very thoughtful approach when matching you with our clientele, and it's really driven off of who you are as a person. So your background you bring to the table, your communication style, your personality, your hobbies, your interests, really what makes you you. It is not based on your preferred location. So this is probably one of the biggest questions I get is, can I share my preferred locations, or maybe if I have some locations I prefer to stay away from? You absolutely can share them with us, but again, that's not our driving factor. And so it's not something we necessarily will take into consideration. For us, it's more important we're finding the right role and the right company for you. And the reason being is because we want these to be long-term job opportunities for you. And so finding the right fit is most important. Now, this client matching process actually occurs during training. So you could find out your client assignment as early as week 6, and then you could start with them as early as week 13. So nobody ends 3 months of training early. So that is why training has a range from 3 to 4 months long. After 3 months, you technically could start with your client, assuming you're already assigned. If you're not assigned yet, that's absolutely okay. That's why we have this time frame. And so we're probably just still working on getting you that placement. And we would have you go through some additional training in that tandem time frame. As a reminder, your full-time job is always with Dev10, but you will feel like a fully contributing member of that client's team because you're on site with them. You're supporting their technology initiatives. One client is most common. And the reason being is because, again, our clients want to keep you long term. And so they see this as a way to actually retain junior level talent and have you grow within their organization. At the bottom of my screen, you'll see a list of project examples. I understand these are higher level, but these are realistic things that you could be supporting or doing. The most important thing to us is that you're going into that development engineering space. Not that you're only being a Java developer, you're only focusing on Python engineering. That's not our goal because that's not realistic. Technology is forever changing. And so being able to learn and really learn other tools and tech, that is to be expected and absolutely could happen based on the projects you're supporting. Now, I've talked a lot about the clients that we partner with, and so I figured it was worthwhile to share some of those clientele. You'll see this is split out amongst industry. So finance and banking is definitely the largest industry that we have clientele in, followed by, I would say, healthcare, retail, agricultural, so agribusiness, and business management, as well as aviation. You'll see we do have additional industries in there as well. So it's not that we only target clientele that fall into one of these categories. But I would say if you think about what the US is made up of, maybe this isn't a huge surprise to you. Now, we do have requirements though for a client to take on a Dev10 associate. That requirement is that they're providing you mentorship. So that mentorship from your client is an actual senior engineer being assigned to you as your daily resource. So this is the person that's going to help train and teach you those new tools and systems you're supporting. They are going to be able to be your go-to person for your technical questions. Going in as a junior level resource, you absolutely will have questions. I'd be concerned if you didn't. And so you're not going to know everything. And so why this is important is you're going into an existing team structure with other engineers, other developers. You're not the only one. So having that mentorship and guidance is really important to your success. In addition to that technical mentor, Dev10 is still your employer. And so we are giving you a Dev10 mentor as well, which is one-on-one guidance. This is more big picture, so around career development, I would say. It's helping you navigate through this new corporate culture, this new team environment, maybe helping you on some of your assigned work and giving you advice. Maybe some goal setting is a part of your conversation on how you can ramp up into your new role. They are there for best practice advice and coaching. Now let's dive into the commitment of this job opportunity. Some of this has been covered already, but there is a little bit of new information I wanted to share. Now, the new information is actually right away. And so because this job has a 27-month commitment, that means in return, we are asking that you're committing to working for us for 27 months. That commitment is because we actually invest $35,000 into you upfront. So let's talk through what that actually means. If you were to receive and accept an offer, and you decide to accept that offer and sign this contract, in this contract, it will say that you are committing to just working for us for 27 months. And that is because of the investment Dev10 is making into you. That investment is a lift that we make on the front end through that training time frame. So it does take a lot of time and resources and energy and effort to get someone through our training and promoted and with a client. And so it's a lot we're doing on the front end to get you to a point where you are a wonderful and excellent data engineer or software developer that a client really wants to bring on board. And it's someone they're really excited about and ultimately want to keep you long term. And so there will be a clawback section in our contract, and it will state if you quit your job throughout that 27-month commitment, you would be liable for owing us that investment back. Now, that's not our goal. Our goal is for you to just simply work for us for at least that 27-month commitment. And again, if you decide to quit, ultimately it's because we don't want you to take all of this training and knowledge and effort that we've put into helping you ramp up and take those skills elsewhere. We simply want to be the ones who actually find you that client opportunities so that stress is taken off of you. Now, location commitment. You must be able to relocate to your assigned location, which again could be anywhere across the continental United States. We are providing that 30-day notice, that financial relocation bonus, as well as some information support through our Dev10 Collective, which is our internal social platform. This is going to be a really great resource. Once you find out where your client is located, chances are we have other Dev10 associates who have made a similar move, and you can reach out to them for advice and support. So that is information support. After 27 months, what happens? There is some confusion typically with this job that this is only a 27-month job. That is not true. Just the commitment is 27 months, but this is a long-term job opportunity. And so over 96% of the time, our consultants are hired by their client. So this is what I mean when I say that a client wants to retain you and keep you long term. That happens most of the time. Pay and benefits are structured, so I do want to ensure financially this job makes sense for you. There is no room for negotiation. As a trainee, we pay $1,200 every 2 weeks. Once you then get promoted, if you are placed with a client in a regular city, your year one salary will equate to $50,000. Year two, we give a $10,000 pay increase based on performance. Although year to date, we've given every single person that full 10K pay increase. So year two equates to $60,000. If you're placed with a client in a tier one city, which means a higher cost of living location, you will qualify for our higher pay rates. So year one would equate to $60,000 and year two would equate to $70,000. We have ran the data. We already have a full list of what those cities are across the US. That would be shared with you upon a offer. To throw out an example though, New York City would be a tier one city location, which would qualify you for the higher pay rate. Benefits. You get the same benefits I'm eligible for as an employee here. So health, dental, vision, 401k, life insurance. You have your first 30 days of employment to elect any of these benefits. They then would become active day 31. Paid time off absolutely is a benefit you will receive, but not during training. Because again, during training, there's just so much content we're covering. We don't want you to miss a day and fall behind. And so 100% mandatory attendance and training. After that, your paid time off starts accruing right away. So we absolutely support a healthy work-life balance. Over a full calendar year time frame, we are providing you with 24 days, which is broken down into 10 vacation days, 10 holidays, and 4 sick days. Now we're moving into our selection process. Today is the information session, which is technically step 1, and your opportunity to determine if you want to move forward. The answer is yes. The next step is a career fit assessment. Now, when going to take that career fit assessment, you will also have to upload a resume. That resume will be reviewed with your career fit assessment results. Go back to the requirement slide if needed. It is really important that we can visually see how you meet our job requirements on your resume. So don't take that next step until that resume is ready to go. From there, we'd move on to a one-on-one interview. We like to schedule this about 2 to 3 months from your target start date. So again, if you're just not completed with your bachelor's degree, or maybe you do have a near future vacation coming up and you'd like to target something a little bit later, you and I will work together on a good time frame on when to move forward with that one-on-one interview. But absolutely still take that career fit assessment as a next step now. From there, assuming that interview goes well, we move on to a technical learning assessment. You're given 1 week to work on a Python basics course and project. It is entirely self-paced. It could take around 5 to 8 hours of your time based on your background. But you're learning through modules and videos and then applying that knowledge to a project that you would turn in for grading. I would include instructions and a grading rubric, so our expectations are very clear. From there, we will pick our top performers to receive an invitation to a group interview. This is 2 hours of your time conducted virtually via Zoom, and it's all about collaboration. So it's not technical whatsoever. You're working in a small team on a discussion-based activity, and my team is simply observing that interaction. From there, candidates will be selected and we'll start extending offers. We do always support a 2-week notice if anyone needs one. Now let's dive into this next step. So as mentioned, the career fit assessment is the next step in our application process. It's going to be roughly 45 minutes of your time, and I say roughly as there are timed and on-timed sections, starting with cognitive ability. So problem solving, math, numbers, patterns. This is the only timed section. So there will be a clock. You have 12 minutes. From there, we'll move into your motivation, followed by your personality, and both are on timed, but will take about 10 to 15 minutes each section. Now, I do recommend completing this in one sitting. We do not allow retakes now or in the future at this point in time. And the reason being is this career fit assessment was specifically designed for our job opportunities. And so what we hire does not change. And so that is why we recommend you have 45 minutes of uninterrupted time to steady internet connection before taking this assessment. Assessment feedback will be immediate. That will be from Wonderlic, which is what the assessment is through. However, that feedback will be essentially a summary based on how you answered these questions. Your pass-fail results will actually come from my team. And that's going to be via email within at least a week time frame. So be a little bit patient as we get your results over to you. If you are interested in moving forward with our job opportunity, the next step is that career fit assessment. However, to receive that assessment link, there will be a short quiz first. There are 4 questions. They are via a Google form. If you answer them correctly, it will move you forward. If you answer something incorrectly, the page will refresh and you'll have to start over. Now, this quiz is based on the information covered in the information session today, and to test your knowledge of paying attention and ensuring, again, this is a good opportunity for you. From there, you will be sent to the link. So that link will display after you correctly answer all the quiz questions and submit the quiz. It is important that you click on that submit button and then you'll get that link. Please take it as soon as possible, but I'd say within the week time frame is appropriate. And then again, your results will be sent back to you within a week as well. If you do have any pressing questions you want to ask, please send me an email at kconnolly@genesis10.com. I want to thank you for your time here today, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.